Good morning. I wanted to shoot a video for you this morning. If you've Googled these keywords about emotional abuse, then obviously you're having some issues in your life that are affecting your quality of life and your relationships. And what I'd like to do is to share with you, first off, a lot of years of experience, having gone through those same issues in my own childhood and gone through years and years of counseling and listening to different scenarios and how people were going to help me with what I'd gone through in the past. Ultimately, after some counseling, some of it was good. I learned some techniques that would help me find peace in my life, actually find joy, and help me to put wonderful relationships back into my life. And I went on later, much later in my life, to get a doctorate in Christian counseling. And what I'd like to do today is not to give you a lot of textbook jargon, but what I would like to do is to give you some actual, real ways that you can help yourself if you are dealing with some emotional abuse from your childhood, from your parents, from whatever occurred that happened in your life that you feel like is holding you back. And it's very real. I'm not going to say that those things did not hurt us, because they did, but we do not have to let them define us. And so what I'd like to do is just share with you that at some point I began to realize one of the things that we do when we get around the wrong kind of people in some of the 12-step meetings, and I'm not saying everyone was this way, but there are a lot of people who want to sit around, and even counselors who all they want to do is talk about what happened to you and blame those occurrences for what's happening in your life today. And while yes, that is real, and yes, it hurt, I don't think it helps us to stay stuck. And at a point in my life, I had to realize that, I could let what happened to me define who I was, define my future, what my relationships were going to be like, or I could, in other words, I could continue to let the enemy win. The enemy was what had happened to me. And I decided that, I was going to have to let go. I was basically digging a grave for myself. And I didn't want to let that past define my future. So healing is all about choice. And you do have a choice, whether you pursue healing or not. And one of the things I would like to suggest for you to do is, in order to heal, although we would want to isolate, and stay alone and feel sorry for ourselves and all of the above, and really, we just don't even like being around people most of the time. One of the hardest things for us to do is to go ahead and connect with some people. And I think that's one of the most positive things that you can do if those people are good for you in your life. Now, usually what we do, we put toxic relationships in our life. They keep perpetuating what went on in our early lives because that's what we're used to. And also because our self-image has been affected by what's happened to us, we don't really feel like we deserve good relationships in our life. And so basically the thought is, if you really knew me, you wouldn't be around anyway. You'd go away. And that's kind of, I understand that thinking. But what I would encourage you to do is put up some boundaries and to keep those people away from you who keep wanting to define you by that abuse. In other words, they don't blow wind beneath your wings. They use you and manipulate you and control you, lead you around, so to speak, by your feelings, by your nose, because of destructive things that happen to your life. And what we do is we keep repeating those patterns. We keep putting those same kind of people in our life. And it just kind of keeps us running around in circles. And so try to put some people who will accept you just like you are. You may have to go to 12-step meetings. You may have to go to church to meet some good people who will do that. And even churches will put that shame on you and try to control you sometimes. And so you have to be careful about that. But one of the keys is putting good people around you that are going to help support you. I think another thing is to realize that your childhood was damaged. And doesn't mean you have to be scarred, for the rest of your life. Yes, we have scars, but they don't have to tell us where we're going or how we're going to live. But what I think it was John Bradshaw used to talk about, the inner child, the child who did not get what it deserved growing up in the home or in the situation that you were in. And so that child is fearful, and it's hard for us to have fun, and life's so serious because we're trying to survive. So anything you can do to put good things back into your life, things that you love, things that cause you to have fun, that's what I would do. So you want to try to heal this inner child as best you can. And for me, and you can take it and use it if you want or not, but I used to, first off, let me back up a minute. It was hard for me to believe in God because of what had happened in my life, and I'm not going to go into all that as I got older. But then through the 12 steps, I found a higher power. And what I would do is I would visualize that higher power as I perceived a loving God, a loving Christ. I would perceive him with me in those situations in my life and let him surround me with his love and let him help heal this inner child. And for me, that worked. I would encourage you to let go of the things that keep you stuck. A lot of times we want to beat ourselves up because, okay, I reacted that way again. Well, instead of beating yourself up, accept yourself for who you are and realize you do not have to keep repeating the destructive behaviors. You do have a choice. That's the most important thing I would want to tell you today, is you have a choice of how you're going to live your life. And you do not have to let those old rules define who you are and create codependent situations in your life that are destructive for you. So get some new rules. Get a new definition of who you are and put people around you that are going to reinforce that. I would journal. I used to do it with my left hand because that would let some of the feelings come up with this inner child and then maybe I could grieve. And by the way, with this idea of grieving, there are a lot of counselors who are going to want you to grieve for the rest of your life. I went to a psychiatrist once. I was miserable. I'd taken pills and doing everything I could to kill the pain. And I went to see him thinking he would have some hope for me. And what he said was, it's going to take years and years and years for you to get better. And he gave me a box of, some pills to take. And I walked out of there really disappointed and depressed. And I want to be the one to tell you today, it does not take years for you to begin to feel better and to put good things in your life. It just does not have to be that way. And anybody that wants to tell you that, I'd run from them as fast as I could. I'd shake the dust off my feet, and I'd get out of there, because that's just not the way it is. You do have some grieving to do about your lost childhood, but you don't have to grieve all the time. When I would sit down and journal, maybe I'd journal left hand, try to get in touch with the inner child, and I would grieve for a while. But at some point, you got to come back to an adult state and go live your life. So you don't have to walk around in that state of the small child who's scared and fearful and full of anxiety. So limit yourself to when you're going to do your grieving, and you don't have to grieve for the rest of your life. Today, I have a wonderful life. I tried to run away from relationships that were good for me in my life, and I was used to the destructive ones. So when someone finally came along that would love me unconditionally, I wanted to run away. But I recognized that situation and decided, it didn't have to be that way, and I stayed in it. And guess what? I've been in it for over 20 years, and it's been a wonderful thing. So I made a choice that I was going to change. And I wasn't going to blame everybody else, although I had suffered hurt, for what my life was like today, because I was not going to drag the future around or the past around like a ball and chain into my future. And that's what I would encourage for you. So if you're going to go to any kind of counseling, you're welcome to email me, subscribe on my channel, leave some comments. I'll be glad to talk to you, try to help you. But, don't go to people who are going to tell you it's going to take years and years and years. Talk to somebody that's going to say, you know what? I know that hurt, and now we're going to help you deal with that, and now let's move on. And that's what you can say to yourself in your own life. And I'm going to encourage you to have a wonderful life. There's no reason to walk around being miserable all the time. And with that being said, I'm going to wish you the best. And if you want, you can, I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and you can subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing a lot of videos over the next few months, tips, things that you could do to help yourself in this recovery situation. I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye-bye.